You know what time it is? Time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Yeah.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Season 11 still going strong, people. If you haven't, make sure you go to the website, thebigscoopwithcoop.com, to catch episodes from season 1 all the way up to now. Big shout outs to everybody that's watching on Facebook, facebook.com/thebigscoopwithcoop. Big shout outs to everybody that's watching on Instagram at Big Scoop with Coop. Also, people, you can catch me on TikTok now. That's right, I'm on TikTok at Big Scoop with Coop. And make sure you also go to YouTube, youtube.com/The Big Scoop with Coop. And make sure you click like and subscribe so you don't miss one episode of The Big Scoop with Coop. All right, people, enough about me. Today's guest, she has done a lot in the television and movie industry. She is one of the producers of Bel-Air. She has worked for Warner Brothers, Lionsgate. She has done so much. She also started the international diversity film market. She's going to come up here. She's going to talk about all of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Beal. So everybody, make sure you sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. We're going to talk about Chris' career. We're going to talk about some of the places she has worked, some of the movies she has worked on, like The Green Mile, Deep Blue Sea, Romeo Must Die, and more. So sit back and relax and enjoy. And everybody, get ready for this episode of The Big Scoop with Coop. To the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It is good to be here. I love being out here in these streets talking about producing. A lot of people, don't really know what producers do. So I'm always here to educate.
That's what I'm talking about. First and foremost, how's your day so far?
It's going pretty good. I had I have a film that's going to the Cannes Film Festival. So I have been working on that all day. Can't say where. Well, I can announce some of it. Still gotta be quiet on a little bit, but we got accepted into one portion that I can talk about called diversity in Cannes. A woman by the name of Yolanda Brinkley. She's been doing this for 15 years. She is like the business. I love her to death, and so I'm excited to be a part of her festival, Diversity in Cannes, which will be at the Cannes Film Festival in another week.
That's what's up. Big shout out to Yolanda. Big shout out to everybody, that cast and crew. I hope big things happen for that movie, and I believe it will. So big shout out to all of you that's watching.
Yeah, that was a festival, the Diversity in Cannes. So that's
Diversity in Cannes. Okay, got you.
Festival. Yeah, it's a festival.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. They're still doing big things. That's what I'm talking about. Now, Chris, we will start off with the first segment of the show. This is called Have You Heard? So we'll talk about a topic. Let me know if you heard about it and tell me your opinion about it, okay?
Okay.
Now, in 2022, the show Bel-Air, that you're quite familiar with,
yes,
it shattered Peacock records. It was crowned the most streamed original series on Peacock, and it had a total at the time of 13.6 million viewers. Have you heard?
I didn't. You know what? I have not. I put in the work. I knew that we were the number one show on Peacock, but I didn't know exactly how big we were, because you always in the grind working, and I love the cast. So I'm always there doing the work as when you're producing. That's what it's about.
Wow. Big shout outs to the whole cast and crew of Bel-Air. You guys are doing your thing. You brought in 2022, 13.6 million. New seasons coming up soon. I believe it's season 3. I've been keeping up with the show myself. So I believe y'all will probably double these numbers. It's coming. It's definitely coming.
It is. Yeah, it's a good show. Great show.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, Chris, for the people that's getting introduced to you for the first time, when did you first realize that you wanted to get into the television and movie industry?
So it's like kind of a two-prong. My stepdad actually was a movie buff when I was about 7. So my mom and him got married when I was about 7 years old, 7, 8 years old. And his thing was going to the movies. And he not only just wanted to go to the movies, but he was like, I want to be there when the movie starts so I don't miss the credits in the beginning. And I don't want to leave until all the credits have rolled, until we have respectfully saw everybody's name at the end. So that was like my introduction to uh kind of like the movie. I mean, you go to the movies, but like having to see what people do. And so one day I professed to my mom at like 7. I was like, don't get used to me because I'm moving to California, work in the entertainment industry. So that's something I told them early on that I wanted to do. Didn't know what, but I knew I wanted to be here.
Wow. And you know what, Chris, I tell people all the time, if you feel it at a young age, and it don't even have to be a young age, if you feel it at any age and it's instilled inside of you, there's a reason. There's a reason why it's there. And look at you. You did it. I mean,
Yeah.
geez, you did it. You told them ahead of time. You gave them a heads up.
I was like, don't get used to me because I'm out of here. I'm moving to California and I'm from North Carolina. So, the big thing about working in the industry, as you know, is sometimes you don't know anybody. You don't know anybody. And I have a good friend that I actually, we didn't move out here together, but she moved out here and then I moved out here with her. But I remember when she left, because we both went to Howard, she was like, yeah, I'm moving to Hollywood, girl. And I'm like, you got money? You got a place to stay? She was like, I'm moving out on a wing and a prayer. And I'm like, really? You're just moving out? And I was like, and I need to be thinking about that too. I need to be thinking along those lines too. So, good friends. I mean, and those are your like peers, people that sometimes you see them knowing people who are going to do this too, who are going down that same road that you're going down.
That's so true. And that's one thing we have in common, Chris, because I'm in North Carolina.
Oh,
So
yeah.
born and raised. So that's big. Having somebody hometown native, home
Yeah.
state native, made a name for yourself and you're doing it. I mean, you're really doing it. I love it. I love it. Now, Chris, did you have any mentors to help you out when you got to Hollywood and you start doing your thing? Did you have any mentors?
I did. So, it's funny. I got mentors later. So when I first got here, I met this woman along the way before I moved here named Pat McCurdy. And I guess she was sort of a mentor. I met her in DC. She told me if I ever moved to LA, I could look her up or her son up. And I moved out here and I did. And she was receiving. And she really helped me because I got in a producer program at Warner Brothers, and she was the reason why I got in the program and that I even knew about the program. And I was the first Black person in that program that they had that they still have at Warner Brothers. So it was like a blessing. It was a blessing to meet her. You know how they say that sometimes you can meet the right person at the right time that can further your career. And Pat, everybody calls her Mama McCurdy because I'm not the only person, although I would like to be not the only person that she's helped, but she's helped so many people. I mean, her kids are in the industry. Her son, her daughter was casting, her son worked in entertainment, but I introduced her to people. She was just that woman that was always encouraging and was going to always look out. She was all going to always look out for you in a way to help you. And I think because I knew her and met her early on, that helped me to like kind of shape who I was and also try to help people. I mean, like if you hit me up in my DM, I might not answer right away, but usually it'll take me some time, but I will answer questions, about people wanting to be in the industry. And also sometimes they'll want to hear the truth, but I'll tell them the truth about the industry because it's really tough.
No, it is. And I tell anybody that's trying to get into the industry, 100 no's can equal one yes.
That is
If you don't
exactly.
have the yes, go on and say it.
100 no's will equal a yes. I can tell you like before, like my first job was at ABC Network. It was in news. And so I worked in Washington, DC. They used to put out like this will date me. They used to put out like the paper jobs where you would go and pick up the little jobs and look at them and apply. So and mail your stuff in back when people would snail mail. So I used to do those and I would just be stacking up my rejections. I think I had like like, I don't know, maybe 60 or 70 rejection over a 6 month period. And then finally I got a call they call it talent relations at ABC at that time. I don't know if they still do, but they called me. It was like, we have gotten so many resumes from you. We want to meet you. We want to see if you actually truly will like us. So that's how I got my first job. I believe in being persistent, and I was persistent in, just continuing to, I didn't let the no or the no's turn me away. I was like, well, I'll just keep trying until someone recognizes that I'm serious about what I want to do and serious about moving into the craft.
That's what I'm talking about, because that's why I tell people, if they got to have thick skin. If you
Yes.
get ran away after your second or third no, oh boy, it wasn't meant to be. You
No.
have to continue to pursue. I mean,
You,
pursue like you've never pursued before. And
you,
you're a testament of it. I've been doing this for 11 years. I understand. I hear no all the time. So I
yeah.
definitely get it. It's hard, but if it's a
Yeah.
dream of yours, continue to do it. You got
It
to
is.
keep pushing.
It's humbling. It's humbling to hear no's. It's humbling. You're like, dang, I ain't as good as I thought, or I need to like work harder, or I need to change the game as to how I'm gonna do it, how I'm gonna work things. So yeah, it's
That's
hard.
so true. That's so true. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we're gonna talk about this now. Warner Brothers. Now,
Yeah.
when you got into Warner Brothers, you actually you put your name out there. No, let me take that back. I said it in a nice way. You start uppercutting Jaws when you got up into Warner Brothers. You helped out with movies like Deep Blue Sea, The Green Mile, Romeo
Yeah.
Must Die, and more. How excited were you to get those opportunities to work on this?
Very excited. So the program, it was a producer program at Warner Brothers, and basically they paired you with a person that oversaw the feature films and like two people. So you're paired with those two people for about 2 years, and you get to like meet the producers. You get to be the person that say, I wanna I need to like introduce that producer to the executive. I need to I got to go in and make sure that they set up their office right. So with that particular program, you got to be on set. You got to actually start a film from development all the way to release, and then after, because sometimes movies will get sued because people would be like, you stole my idea. So they would have that going along, and then but you like, there's a movie in particular I always talk about, Bait, that starred Jamie Foxx, and the director was Antoine Fuqua. And I remember when they were looking to hire, and I'm like, oh my God, I love Antoine Fuqua. Remember, he does these high end commercials, and then he did a movie with Marissa Vino and Chow Yun Fat. And so I remember him, and I just remember talking him up, to the executives, and they're like, who is this guy? And I'm like, he is like fantastic. Now, I don't know if I had anything to do with him getting fired, but I certainly was excited about him as a director. And the thing with the studio, sometimes they are not willing to take a chance on a new individual. They prefer to like stick with people that they have worked with in the past. And so at that time, Antoine was very new to the studio system, and but I knew who he was, and I was excited about him, and excited enough to say something. And the same thing with Morris Chestnut. I worked on a show called G.I. Jane.
I
And
remember that.
so GI, so we were I did that in DC. They were still casting, and I think they had one role that they continue to cast. Every day I hounded them people about Morris Chestnut. I was like, oh my God, you gotta hire him. He's fantastic. You don't know him? He played Ricky. He was in Boys in the Hood. Y'all don't know Boys in the Hood? So I'm talking about Morris Chestnut like every day to these people. And then one day I come in the office, and I was a PA, and the production coordinator was like, hey Chris, can you come in the office? I got something I need you to do for me. So I walk in the office, and who's sitting in the office is Morris Chestnut. I was like, oh my God, they flew him out here. I was like, y'all gotta hire him. Because I'm on them every day about like hiring him, but you 20, you young, he's cute, you saying that all, so but it was so cool to just know that I was just like, a young kid saying this man's name, talking him up in the office like every day. And then next thing you know, he was in the office and everybody in that office knew that I was like, this is that guy that I'm like, I talk about all the time. So I talked about him a lot and they were just like, and next thing you know, he was on the show. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know how that affected it, but I know I talked about him all the time on the show, and was hoping that they would hire him.
It's called manifestation. And you did that. You definitely did that. And Chris, you got a strong manifestation on you.
Definitely. No, I mean, I worked with just even early on, Kevin Hart. I worked with him on something like a business when he was like kind of more up and coming. Nice guy, still nice. I worked with Kevin like on three different occasions. I worked with him on that. I worked with him on the comic view one mic stand, and I worked with him on one other thing. And I was just like consistently three times, three different eras, and the same guy. And I was just like, I remember when he started his app and he was like really out there. And I remember talking about like, just pushing and everything, and he was like a good guy then. And it's I really like knowing that indie film that he did, back in like '07 and seeing where he is now. It's like, so it's refreshing, to see that. And I'm like happy to see that.
Was it the indie film? Don't tell me the name because I can't remember. But I see him. There's some other guys with him. They're in a truck. And
which one? Which film?
I'm trying to, it's Kevin's early indie film. I'm trying to remember. Oh gosh. I'm seeing him in like this van or truck type.
He did Soul Plane, and then something like a business was he inherited a perfume company from his uncle that was a pimp.
That one. Yeah, that's the one. I
Yes.
remember that. Yes. I definitely remember Soul Plane. Ain't gonna never forget that name. But that's the one I was talking about right there.
Yeah, if you look at that one, and you'll see a car in there. It's like a burgundy Volvo. That's my car in the movie.
What?
Because I'm so indie. They was like, hey, who's the PA? We want to use your car, and so my car is in that movie, something like a business, but it's cool. I know years later got to know Eric Thomasunas, who produced that, who's doing a lot of stuff now, and then Russ Parr, who's like a great,
Yep.
good director. I met him then. I haven't worked with him since, but Eric Thomasunas, I've worked with him since then. So it's good to see like Eric. I think that was him early on, and now to see where he is and where he's blossomed too. So it's good to come up with people.
That's what I'm talking about. Big shout outs to Eric, big shout outs to Russ, Kevin, Morris. You know what? Everybody in Hollywood, because you know what? Chris has been every daggone body. And y'all better thank Chris when y'all see her again. She kept talking y'all name up, and look where you're at now. You better give the girl some credit. Give her some credit. That's what I'm talking about. Now, let's I want to talk about this. Now, you was a distribution coordinator for Lionsgate also.
Yes.
How did you get to Lionsgate, and how did you enjoy that time?
So I got to Lionsgate after the program, the producer program. I actually was kind of looking. I met with a guy, God, what's Andy's? Now he is dating me now, but he was like the worldwide distribution president for TV for Lionsgate. This guy named Andy Reamer. Nice guy. I got the job just putting it out there, being out there hustling basically. And got in. It was cool. I sat next to this woman. What was her? I'm trying to think of like she's the head of distribution now. I can't think of her name, but the assistant to the person who did home video. Like we sat next to each other. And the thing about starting out together in Hollywood is like you get to know these people and you get to know who's gonna move up, who's gonna go where. So like even before working at Lionsgate, I worked with this producer named Hunt Lowry. He was instrumental in teaching me really the art of producing because he was old school. He like produced like that, like Airplane, the movie. And so he was instrumental in teaching me how to be a solid producer so that when I got jobs like at Lionsgate and different places like that, I had, that to back me up because Hunt believed in reading your script being able to spitball the budget. And also his thing was always be nice to your crew, so that they will be nice to you. And just be a good person wherever you go, wherever your life walks take you. Be a good person. So I think, just my wanting to be there and being hungry for the business was how I was able to like land the jobs that I've gotten, and then also meet the people that I've met. And with Andy, he taught me at that time. I don't know if they do it yet, but it was Andy and a woman by the name of Don Robinson, and it was one other woman. They between the three of them, they taught me, like what it takes to bring a project in and do the distribution. So it's like a formula. I don't know if they still use the formula, but it was a formula that they had, back then, that you would do to like go from theater to home video to pay-per-view to broadcast. So it was like a formula the way you did that. And I learned that from Andy, because he was just like, at that time, I was a kid and he was already 30 years in. So he was a serious veteran. And then Dawn Robinson, her husband is a DP. She also was a veteran in the business. She's moved on, but she taught me a lot. She taught me, how to that whole distribution game, how it really works. And also she was like, okay, you like somebody really well. Okay, we'll help them get distribution. So she, how they say it's sometimes who you know.
Yes.
She one of those people that was like, you like them, you think this is good. Okay, let's see if we can pull it in and like really get it in and get them a deal. So it was people like that. It's just like, mentors along the way.
Yes. Yes.
Mentors.
Ladies and gentlemen watching worldwide, I hope you're taking notes, because if you didn't catch what Chris just said, let me just break it down for you. You better start networking. Network like you've never networked before. Don't
Yes.
depend just on your skills. It is a who you know game. Believe it or not, you may not want to hear that from me, but I'm telling you, your
It is.
skills plus who you know will make you go like this, and you keep doing your thing. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now, you started something, Chris, and I want to talk about this too.
Yeah.
International diversity film market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, tell
Yeah.
everybody about it.
So I don't know if you've heard of the American Film Market, AFM. It's been around for about 30 years. So I had gone to AFM a couple of years, worked just kind of like the lay of the land. And so I don't know, when I talk to people about the business of filmmaking, when I worked at the AFM, I was like, oh my God, this is actually where the business takes place. This is how you not after you do your film, this is where your film will end up, get sold, maybe internationally, maybe domestically, but this is where it will be taken, and this is where the business will start. And so I saw a need for something like that in the Black community and people of color. So me, a friend of mine, we were like, hey, I was like, I know we could do this. We can do something where we help women filmmakers of color, help them with distribution, help them, meet agents, help them, meet people in the industry. Because my thing is, we used to do a thing called some getting in the biz. And getting in the biz was like where we would bring in people who hadn't quite made it. They were like director's assistants, producers assistants, agent assistants, because we wanted people to see that like you don't just become an agent, you don't just become a producer, you don't just become a director or an actor. Sometimes you start as an assistant, and that's where you make that leap to go up. And so, I would bring people in, I would bring like assistants in, like, oh my God, why do you want to talk to me? It's scary. I'm like, because you're a gatekeeper, because you're going to be the next person that's going to be that producer, or that who's going to be the head of that studio. You're going to be that person. And so, I would bring in like my friends that were assistants that was like, I don't know if I want to come. I'm like, please come. And so one of the guys that I brought in, we were assistants together. His name is Mark Restagini. That's my dog. We was assistants together to the guy Hunt Lowry. And Mark came in, talked about what it was like to be an assistant. And when I tell you, he actually is the head of Amazon. So he's like, he is like, if you want to do like go get in development for a drama or something, he's like the head of, I think he's like senior vice president or president of drama of Amazon. And I mean, I haven't checked him lately because he could even be higher than that. But Mark is like, I knew he was going to be there, a kid that I met in the industry. He went to Vassar. We both were like working together. And I was like, I would tell him all the time, I said, I know you're going to be the head of a studio someday. Like, I literally could see it, in the way he was, and just an all around good guy. And we bumped into each other, I want to say maybe 2 years ago at I'm a part of the PGA, the Producers Guild of America. And Mark was there sitting on a panel, and we saw each other. And it's funny because he's on the panel. You know how panels are. People want to go down, and after the panel is over, they want to talk to the person and give them their card and meet. And so I'm sitting in a chair because I'm like, oh my God, it's Mark. So I'm sitting there. I don't tell him I'm there. He's on stage. I know people are gonna rush him. So when they say, okay, the panel is wrapped, I'm like, I just call out Mark Restaghini, and he like looks, and I see him, and literally I felt bad, but it was just like, he was like, move out the way. This is my friend. We haven't seen each other. And we like hug and we talk. And I'm like, Mark, there's so many people who want to talk to you. So I'm going to hang back. And then you and I will talk once you do your thing, because it's a lot of people here who really, you can give them some good information. You're going to talk to them, and we'll talk later because we know each other on a personal level. So, but that's how,
Wow,
that's how,
Prince, girl, whoa,
yeah.
you
So
you got adventures. You have adventures all up your sleeve.
yeah. It's being here for, longevity,
And you're not
long,
going nowhere. You're not.
longevity.
This is meant for you. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now, we got to talk about something else too, Chris. And we brought it up in the beginning of the show. So let's talk about it. Bel-Air on
Yeah.
Peacock.
Okay.
Wow, season 3 coming up. The story is going very well. Now, how excited were you to start working on the Bel-Air? How to become part of the crew of Bel-Air?
This one is kind of weird. So I did a series, produced a series with Oprah Winfrey and a woman by the name of Janine Sherman Barwar called The Kings of Napa. So I had to move to Canada for like a year to work on this show. They have like a thing. So like when you produce or do something for TV, you're either going to do a pilot or they're going to do what's called straight to series. That means they love the show. They don't want a pilot. They just want you to go ahead and shoot the series. So that series got picked up, and I knew Janine from college, and she was, I can't even, she's a good person. She came and she was like, I want you to line produce this TV series. Do you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So she fought for me to get the job line producing and moving to Canada. So anyway, so I do the show. I'm excited because it's like my first like really big TV show that I'm in charge of. I've done TV shows, but this was mine. And so we're doing it, we go through the whole season. I'm excited. I'm with Oprah. And then so we finish and I come back. I'm like, I gotta see my daughter. My daughter's in college. I need to go see her. So I had I didn't really know him well, but a guy by the name of Jason, what's Jason's last name? I'm like drawing a blank. Macaulay, Jason Macaulay. He called me about working on Bel-Air. And the thing is, I knew they were doing a show, and I was like, man, it would be great to work on this show. But then I went to Canada, and I was like, it's too late. I probably won't get on the show. So I didn't think about it. And then so when he called me about the show, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm tired. I kind of just got back from Canada. I think I kind of want to take some time. That's how I was. And I was really more concerned about I was really thinking about my daughter and having to see her and I was away from everybody during COVID. So I was alone and all that stuff. So anyway, I was actually slow to return the calls or anything. I wasn't like jumping all over. I was like, oh, okay, let me, hold on. I just got back from Canada. I need a moment. I need to like rest. And my sister was like, "What are you doing? You need to take this job. You need to respond." I was like, well, let me go. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to see my daughter," and they was just like, and they kept texting me. They texted me, "Here's the job. Here's how much you will make. Here's when it stops. Here's what we'll do for you." And I'm like, okay, So I kind of was like, not that I didn't want the job, but I was like tired from this other job. And so finally, my sister April was like, "You need to respond because you need to continue to work." So I finally responded to them and was like, "Okay, yes, I'll take the job. When do I start? What am I doing? And so on and so forth." So I got the job. It was like not it wasn't a producer at the time. It was just like kind of helping them find locations and stuff like that. And I wasn't even really on set ever. Like I knew some of the people, so I would come when I needed to come. So it was different things I would come, and I was like, "Oh, I need to be here for this. Okay, I need to be here for that. Okay." So I would do that. And Jason, I mean, they were good. They were good to me. And I was like, I try to be very thorough at the job that I do. So come season two, I'm like, okay, everything has changed. So now I want the job. I'm like, I want to get the job. Can I get a job? And so it came down to I didn't think I was going to get the job with them. I had called and they was like hemming and hawing. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not going to get this job. So I took there's a show with Michelle Yeoh called Brother Son. It's on Netflix. It's a whole Asian show. I took that because I was like, well, I guess it's not gonna happen for me. And what's crazy is they called me about the show and I was like, well, I'll do it, but I need to get like this producer's credit and this. And so I was like, I'm asking for this stuff, and they're like, "Okay, we'll see. We'll get back to you." And then they said yes to everything that I asked for. And the rest is history. I got on the show and it was phenomenal because, the cast, great people. The behind the scenes people were great. I got to be, very good friends with the hair, the makeup. Hair was a woman named Cole Patterson. Makeup was a woman named Roxy, two-time Emmy winner. The wardrobe is a woman named Queen Sylvia, massively, amazing costume designer, and then like all the directors got to know Tasha Smith and Carl Seaton and what's her name? Oh God, why can't I think of her name? Like the actress. Oh, no, no, what's her name? I can't think. Keisha Smith.
Oh
Keisha,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
I
it,
know you're talking.
yeah, so just working with all the directors and the showrunners and just getting to be a part of that and also be a part of bringing other people in. So, that's one of the best experiences that I have had to date. That working on the show, actually working on two shows. Hold on, my mom's calling, but working on two shows. Working with Oprah, working with on a Will Smith show. Didn't come often, but working on a Will Smith show and just in general, just like, going down that avenue of TV and that TV world, because I really like TV. TV
That's
is
what I'm talking about. Jeez. Ladies and gentlemen watching worldwide, please take notes of all of this. You see the come up. She said at a young age what she's going to do and look at where she's at now. Now,
yeah. Yeah.
what advice would you give any male or female that wants to get into the television and movie industry to become a producer?
So I'm a line producer. The one thing I can say is shoot some indie films, shoot some short films, produce those. That's a way to get your foot in the door. Do as many short films and independent films as you can, because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for that. Be persistent. Take the job as a PA, take the job as an assistant, be nice, be a good person, follow up with people, follow up and follow through with people. So it's like be persistent, be consistent, communicate, follow up with people, follow through with people, be on time. That makes a difference. Be on time and just be true about your game, because you have to be ready when the opportunity comes for you. You have to be ready.
I love it. I love it. All right, Chris, last segment of the show is called Take the Floor. You have up
Yeah.
to 2 minutes to say whatever you want. No questions asked. Chris Beal, take the floor.
So I like I said again, definitely you got to be persistent about what you want to do. You got to have intention about what you want to do. You got to, like I would say, find places where you can learn, find mentors. You don't have to have somebody to say, "Hey, you're my mentor." Look at how they operate, ask them some questions. I went to the Oscars. I had a woman in line who knew I did Bel-Air. She asked me questions while we were standing in line waiting to get our photo taken. And I was like, I like your game. I've had people hit me up on DM, hit me up on Facebook, find me on TikTok, and ask questions. And I would say, always ask questions, always like be out there striving to learn, start striving to do, what you got to do. Also for me, right now, I have a film out that I'm doing. It's called Superman Doesn't Steal. We're doing the festival circuit right now. We've been winning our best audience award. So we've been at Pan African, we went at the Cleveland Film Festival. Right now we're getting ready to go to Cannes. We have some other festivals that I can't talk about yet, but so that's what I'm doing now. I'm always shooting, and right now my goal with my baby Superman Doesn't Steal is to win that Oscar. And that's what it's about. So that's my thing, is I'm putting it out there, winning that Oscar for that. I hope somebody sees that out.
Woo. You know how you are with your premonitions. It's going to happen. You spoke it. That's what I'm talking about. It's
Oscar.
done. It's done. Yes. Now, real quick though, Chris, how can everybody follow you on social media to keep up with you with the latest and greatest?
So the ladies and greats, they can look me up on IG. It's Chris Beal Prods on Instagram, on X, and on TikTok, and then on Facebook it's Cool Moss with a K, KOOLMAS. They can find me there, and it's Chris Beal or Cool Moss. So that's how they can find me. And I'm very social media. I'm trying to be extremely social media savvy. And you can also find me on LinkedIn.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, watching worldwide, make sure you follow Chris on all social media sites. Not right now because you're watching this interview. After the interview, go look for her on social media. Make sure you find her everywhere she's at. Chris Beal, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and I would love to have you back on in the future.
Yes, please. I would love to be back. This was great.
That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, the next episode of the Bit Scoop with Coop, my next guest is, you know I don't announce my next guest. You better follow me on social media to find out the latest and greatest at Bit Scoop with Coop, and you'll find out who that next guest will be soon. All right, people, until the next time on the Bit Scoop with Coop. Peace.